Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. It is me, Arlecchino, King of Cards, and I am back with another video. Now, sorry it has been a while. I've been very busy recently, and I'm actually off to Reading tomorrow, so this video might not make it out until after that, but I will try my best to get it out beforehand. Today, we're going to be doing a Dracotail deck profile, so we got Dracotail and Firemina here for that. Now, this deck is new from the Justice Hunters set, but it is definitely, I would say, one of the best competitive decks right now. And the best thing is, it's really cheap for a meta deck at the moment, so I would definitely recommend picking this deck up. But we're just going to go through the main deck and the extra deck here. We'll go through some combos next week. But without further ado, let's get into it. So to start off with, we are going to be running 3 copies of our Dracotail Firemina. Now, this is definitely one of, if not the best monster in the deck. It's just a quick effect. You can discard and fusion summon a dragon or spellcaster fusion monster using monsters from your hand or field. So basically, quick effect poly that you can do in your opponent's turn. Really nice. And then if it's sent to the graveyard as material for your fusion summon, you can set a Dracotail spell trap from your deck. Now, all the Dracotail monsters have that effect, so I'm not going to say that for the rest of them. But effectively, this is what lets you do all your turn 0 plays, lets you really start playing on your opponent's turn, and kind of gives you all those versatile utility plays. So you're going to be wanting to max out on this card as easily as possible. Next, we got 3 copies of Dracotail Lucius. This has the set spell trap effect, but then also, if it's normal or special summoned, you can add a Dracotail monster from your deck to your hand, except itself. So you search Firemina, basically. Brilliant card. Really like the art on those 2 cards. Next, we have 3 copies of Dracotail Malulu. So Malulu is during the main phase quick effect fusion summon again, but it has to be on the field to resolve that. You can't discard it to resolve that. And then you're locked into fusion monsters. Then if it's sent to the grave, you set a spell trap, and then you negate the effects of a face-up monster your opponent controls. So this can be quite good if you use it on Firemina in your opponent's turn, fuse off Malulu, and get to negate one of your opponent's monsters. So that's pretty strong. Next, we got 1 copy of Dracotail Pan and 1 copy of Dracotail Urgula. Now, Pan is really good because if it's sent to the graveyard as material for a fusion summon, you set and then destroy a monster on the field. And then if a face-up fusion monster you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect while this card's in the grave, you can place this card on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, special summon a non-fusion Dracotail from your graveyard. So basically, if a Dracotail monster is destroyed, you put it on the bottom of the deck, summon Lucius and draw, or summon Malulu and fuse. And that's really great, really gets your play started again if your board's broken, and it's a really helpful card to have in this deck. Finally, we have Dracotail Urgula, so it sets and then sets the spell trap and then destroys the spell trap on the field. And then if it's in the grave, you can target a spellcaster Dracotail monster in your grave, place this card on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, add that monster to your hand. So you add Firemina to your hand. So yeah, you get to destroy a set spell and trap, which is super helpful, and then add back a Firemina, which gets your play started again, gets your quick effects, and kind of just gives you way more versatility. So I would definitely recommend running these ratios. This is kind of all you need. You could double up on Urgula if you wanted. I am considering it, but for now, I think this is the ratios I am going to stick with. Now, let's move on to the hand traps. So first, we do have our 3 of Ash Blossom right there, because it stops your opponent adding or special summoning from the deck or sending from deck to grave, so just a super good card. Then we have our 3 copies of Ghost Spell and Haunted Mansion, which is super strong right now as it stops people reviving from the grave. So it stops Canine Lupus, it stops a lot of the yummy stuff, so this card you definitely want to be running this format. Next, we got 3 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Now, this card destroys a card on the field. Pretty strong if you interrupt Vanquished Soul or, oh, that was my ring. If you interrupt Vanquished Soul or Yummy, you can kind of stop their plays. For example, if you use this on one of the Yummy Synchro monsters, they can't revive. If you use it on a Canine or a Vanquished Soul, they can't add back or they can't exceed with it. So, definitely going to be running multiples of these this format. Then we got 2 Droll, because it stops your opponent adding from deck to hand, which is super strong. 1 Magnuma and 1 Boldrake. The reason we're running these is because some of your fusion monsters require dragon monsters, and you can use the Bestials as those fusion materials, so I definitely recommend running the 1 Magnuma and the 1 Boldrake this format. So that is it for the monsters. Now let's move on to the spells. So to start off with, we have 3 copies of our Key 2 Dracotail, which is probably the strongest spell in this deck. You add a Dracotail monster from your deck to your hand, then if your opponent controls a monster, you can fusion summon a dragon or spellcast a monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. So basically, you search, and then if your opponent controls a monster, you get 2 Shadow Fusion. That is not Shadow Fusion, you just get to fuse into anything. So that is super strong. It gets your combo started by adding Lucius, or it gets your go second place started in your opponent's turn, being able to set up your big Arthalion and bounce your opponent's monsters. Super strong. Next we have 3 Rahu Dracotail. This is the Shadow Fusion, 1 from hand and then 1 from deck. So super strong card. You're really going to be wanting to run maxes of these, especially because you can set them off of all your Dracotail monsters. They're super versatile and easy to find. Next we have 3 Super Poly as a board breaker in this deck, because this is super strong going second, or if you set it going first, it can break boards, it can interrupt people. Super strong card that I would recommend running because they can't respond to it. Next we got our 1 copy of Call by the Grave and our 1 copy of Crossout Designator, sorry about that, just to ensure we don't get interrupted on our turn or on our opponent's turn. Yeah, that is it for the spells. It's a very monster heavy deck, this one. Finally, let's move on to the traps. So I'm going to do the non-archetypal traps first. We have 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Now, this is just such a solid card, this format, as this does not trigger K9 Izuna. It doesn't trigger Izuna as it's not a monster effect in the hand. And then if it's set, you can negate the column, and people can often play into Imperm column, so definitely be running 3 of this. Next we have our 1 copy of Dracotail Flame and our 1 copy of Dracotail Horn. You set these off the monster, then Flame targets a face-up spell card on the field, negate its effects, and then bottom a Dracotail from the graveyard to draw a card. Horn targets an attack position monster on the field, bounces it, bottoms a Dracotail, and draws a card. So both really strong interrupt that you can recycle with all your Dracotail cards that I really would recommend just running the 1 of. You can run 2, but I think that's a bit bricky, and with all the non-engine we like to run in this deck, I think these are the right ratios. Now let's move on to the extra deck. So first for the extra deck, we have 3 copies of our big boss monster, Dracotail Arthalion. Now this card is super easy to summon in this deck because you can use any of your fusion spells or monsters to make it. It just requires 1 Dracotail monster plus 1+ monsters in the hand. And if it's fusion summoned, you target monsters on the field and or grave up to the number of materials used. Monsters used as material from the hand, return them to the hand. So this recycles things from your graveyard or bounces your opponent's monster as interrupt. Then, if 2 or more monsters are sent to the grave at the same time while this card's in the grave, you can special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field, which gives you recycling. So basically, you've got a big 3k body that recycles your stuff or bounces your opponent's stuff, and then recycles itself. Super strong card, definitely run 3 of it. Next, we have 2 copies of our Dracotail Gulamel. So, when you activate a Dracotail card or effect, quick effect, you can target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. So this is used when you Phymena and fuse off, say, into Arthalion while you have a Gulamel on the field, and then you do your chain links of Arthalion and the stuff engraved, and then chain Gulamel on the end to pop, but also to chain block, which can be really good. Then it has the same thing that if 2 or more monsters are sent to the grave at the same time while it's in the grave, you special summon it from the grave, and it's got 2800 attack. So I would definitely recommend running 2 of this card, maybe 3. I'm running 2 just because of all the super poly targets I'm running in this deck. But yeah, that is it for the. Oh no, it's not. There's a few more archetypal fusion monsters. We got 1 of Mysterion the Dragon Crown, so this can't be used as fusion material, loses 100 attack for each banished cards, and then if a monster uses its activated effect to special summon itself, or a monster with its original type, you can target 1 of those special summon monsters, banish that, also banish all monsters from the field with its same original type. This is super strong as an interrupt, especially in decks like K9 where they're all special summoning themselves from their hand. Mysterion is really going to be seeing a lot of play this format, and I think that it's definitely the most underrated of the fusion monsters in this archetype, so make sure you pick it up. I also would be running the Secretarion Dragon, but it hasn't come yet, so instead I'm running the 1 of Predaplant Dragostapelia as a super poly target. I'll put it down here. Dragostapelia is just a once per turn target face-up monster your opponent controls, negate it effectively. Super strong card. I really would recommend running Dragostapelia. Yeah, that's all I can really say. It requires a fusion monster plus a dark monster, so I guess it's quite good in the mirror match. But yeah, more super poly targets. We got Mud Dragon, Chaos Star Source Dragon, Starving Venom, and Garura. Now, Chaos Star Source is definitely kind of in the mirror match. Starving Venom can be used against really anyone this format, same with Mud Dragon and Garura. These are just your toolbox super poly targets. Then you have Borreload Furious Dragon. Now I'm running that. It's two Dark Dragon monsters, so quite hard to make, but it's a quick effect, target a monster you control and one card your opponent controls and destroy them, which is super strong. Then banish it from the grave to target a Dark Link monster from your grave and special summon it. Now, I really would recommend running all of these. Chaos Star Source is super strong as it's a pop. Starving Venom is hard to out and then destroys all monsters on the field. This gives you a draw. You know, I don't see why you wouldn't be running these, to be honest. So yeah, that is it for the fusion monsters in the extra deck. Let's move on to the link monsters. For link monsters, we got one Spirit with Eyes of Blue, and that is because it takes a spellcast or a dragon, so you can use your Malulus, you can use Lucius to make this, and it can be quite good because you can go, I don't know, say normal summon Lucius, Lucius link into Spirit with Eyes of Blue, and then if you have one more dragon monster on field, you can make our second link monster, Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. This is once per opponent's turn, quick effect, tribute monster from the hand or field for cost, return a face-up card on the field to the hand. And then if it's tributed, you special summon a dragon monster from your hand or deck and make its attack and defense 0. So what you can do with this that's really strong is make it, tribute it for cost, maybe get the bounce if they don't negate it, and then you can use seals when it resolves to special summon your Malulu from your deck, and then use Malulu's effect to fusion summon, getting your play started. So I really would recommend running just the one copy of this card in this deck. Finally, for our last card in the extra deck, we are running one copy of Superstar Slayer Typhon. Now, I think Typhon's always going to be quite a good card in Yu-Gi-Oh! I think it's just super strong, and I really would recommend running it. It's definitely a if you're losing last resort card, but I don't see why you wouldn't run it when you could. You know, definitely pick one up. Right, so that is it for the video. Thank you very much for watching. I'm really excited to see what the Dracotail deck can do. I think we haven't really seen its full potential yet, and I'm planning on testing some variants, maybe the branded variant or the Shadol variant. But I'm going to give them a bit of a test, and then maybe I'll make a combo video or a deck profile on them if you'd like to see that. But yeah, the combo video for these will be coming out next week, so in case I didn't see you before that, I've been Arlecchino, King of Cards. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.